Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of milmarriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to the Hearts and Stripes podcast. This is your host, Bree Carroll, here for another Heart to Heart, and I'm really excited to dive into a new perspective on military marriage, military life, and just really hear from this powerhouse of a spouse. So I'll read Lydiah's bio very briefly, and then we will dive into today's conversation. So Lydiah is a foreign-born military spouse of 11 years. She's a mom of 3. She's a fierce advocate, humanitarian, builder, connector, and champion of diversity, equity and inclusion, and social impact. She embodies her favorite quote from MLK, which is, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are we doing for others?" Listen, just based off of that bio, I know that you are excited to hear from Lydiah too. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Lydiah. Awesome, everyone. So I'm excited to jump right into our discussion. Lydiah is joining us. Say hello to everyone, and please introduce yourself from your own words.
Hello, everybody. Very nice to be here with you. Pretty excited to be with Bree as well. Thank you for this special event. Yeah, so my name is Lydiah Owiti. I am Kenyan born, so I love that identity sticks with me everywhere. Mission-driven person. I love anything that gives me the opportunity to impact another person's life. And yeah, that's how I go. I am military spouse. Do I say military spouse now? No, probably veteran spouse. Sometimes I can't get the difference. I am a veteran spouse, was a military spouse for about 11 years. And my husband has since retired. So now we're enjoying a cool move-free life.
Yes.
Yeah. I am a mom of 3. And professionally, I am a lawyer by training, with a background also in international development and project management. Yes, Bree.
We love it. I love it. So much goodness. And Lydiah was reminding me, this is our second time we get to work together and chat, first through a cohort with It's a Military Life, and now connecting here on the podcast. So I'm excited to dive into just your background, not being originally, U.S. born, and what it is like from your experience coming into this military life. And share, please, a little bit about your military marriage story, how you met your spouse, and kind of what your experience has been.
Yeah, thank you, Bree. I say that's really a long story. Let's see where we start and end. So I meet my husband on good old Facebook. Thank you.
Come on, Facebook.
Yeah, and we get married sometime in June of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Early 2012, I come to the US. And unfortunately, at the time, my husband was stationed in Kuwait. And so he just came for his 2 weeks of R&R, attempting to get me, situated. Yes. And then he left. So I was left here really struggling by myself. And then a few weeks later, I also found that I was pregnant. And the doctor decided that I had to be on bed rest. Mm-hmm. And so that year, being by myself in a new country, no support, not even knowing the identity as a military spouse, because I wasn't in my country, the military is so far removed from civilians that there's really no connection. So there was nothing in my mind that, oh, there could be, such a thing here.
Yeah.
I'm just going about my life, trying to figure out how best to survive within that year. I make a few friends from a close by church, and yeah, he comes back, and we have to move 3 weeks after he comes back. My baby is just 1 week old at the time, and we have to move to a new place in New Jersey for the next station. And I'm just like, why should I move now? I said, we gotta move because the military says we have to move. So I'm still wondering in my, naive mind at the time. So the military says we go. If they say tomorrow we go. Oh, that's, I don't know if that's a good thing for me, because, I want to continue with my career. I want my kids to have some kind of stability. There are many things I want to do, including the most important one for me at the time was a career. Now, being a lawyer from Kenya, one of the most devastating things, the news that I heard was that my law degree was essentially useless, because then I had to go back to school again, maybe when we get to the career part. But I would say it has not been easy, particularly because of the moving and wanting to do things for myself as well. But then the military just took priority over everything else, to a point that after 3 years and having gone through a full-time schooling, getting my second master's degree, having 2 kids, taking care of them myself, and not having, the feeling that I was doing the things that I wanted to do, I was slipping into a place that was very dark. So I decided that the best thing for me was to leave. So my husband and I had that discussion. And unfortunately for us, he decided that he was going to come with us. So he came with us. So we went back to Kenya for about 3 years. And within that time, slowly came back to myself. Sense of community, identity, warmth, things that are familiar, came back. So I would say the first 3 years of my life in America were not what I would have wanted them to be. But after those 3 years in Kenya and coming back again in 2019, I felt like now my mind was a little bit more prepared or more aware of the expectation of military life, as opposed to I didn't know nothing, and the shocks and the things that are in the system, like the very expensive childcare and all that. In my country, you have 24 hours of help, someone living with you, helping you with the kids so you can go do work, and being a stay-at-home mom is really not like a normal thing where I grew up. So it took a toll on me, things I did not expect. Now I had to deal with. But that's coming back in 2018, now my mind was a little bit more ready for certain things, and it has been better than it was before.
That's good. So your spouse separated, and that's when he was able to come with you.
He went on reserve.
Gotcha. He went reserve. Oh, okay. That is really good. So I wanted to just foot stomp something in your story, which I hear often when I speak to spouses who are not from the US. And I think that is the disconnect and lack of information that is shared for not only is this your first time in military life, but it's your first time in the country. And I think getting help navigating that, especially for our foreign-born military spouse community, we do a really bad job of that. And it's sad to hear that you had to go all the way back home to find that sense of purpose and find yourself again and kind of acclimate yourself to be ready to come back to the States, and you didn't have that support stateside. I know now that there are resources available. However, I agree. I hear this story time and time again. We miss the mark on supporting our spouses who are coming from other countries, because not only are they getting acclimated to what are orders, what does it look like to be on installation, what does this military community look like, but they're just trying to navigate the cultural differences that we have in this country. So that is
Yes.
exciting. That, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry that it was such a hard time for those first 3 years, and probably just a cultural shock overall.
Yes, cultural shock, including, disappointments with career and a lot of things. I thought of myself as, someone who's strong, very versatile, very resilient. I can fit into any, place that I go to. And then suddenly I'm in this place and I'm struggling. So that's another thing that, it's okay to be not okay.
Yes.
And I'm glad that I acknowledged that I was not okay, and that, there's so many things that were out of my hands, that I honestly could not solve by myself. And, took a breather and then came back at least refreshed with a mindset that was ready to now get into the society and probably try again.
Yeah. And I wanted to just interject here, because this was a fact that we actually did in our 2020 military marriage study that I think ties into your story a little bit. And it was the stat where we asked if people, and spouses predominantly are who took the survey, and they mentioned that their personal fulfillment was directly tied to their marriage fulfillment. And when you talk about that loss of identity and that loss of career from that transition, like, let's dive into that. How was that experience from trying to navigate what that looks like then, and also now, as you continue to serve, advocate, and work?
I'd say it's really been an eye opener for me. And when someone feels worth, their self-worth, self-esteem, when that is great, there's a lot that you can conquer, even in hardship, even in things that are new. There's a way that it allows you to walk through so many things.
Yes.
But when your sense of worth, goes down, and you're constantly asking yourself, who am I? Coming from a very, a society where women work, we work, like, even the small little things, even just going to someone's house and helping with the laundry and they pay you something.
Yes.
That's work,
Yes.
So you feel like I'm contributing to society. I'm contributing to my family. I'm showing my kids that, hard work pays, that was so ingrained in me. And so coming to a place where, with an identity as I'm a lawyer, I'm an international development practitioner, I want to go and use those skills to better that society that I'm going to, Then when I came in, and then I immediately learned that, oh, those 7 years that you spent in school are worth nothing. It's like someone stripped you of dignity.
Yeah.
Because then you're wondering, how then am I going to benefit this society? How then, where is my sense of worth? What then do I have that I can use to better this, to better myself, my family, my society?
Yeah.
Nothing. So what's the other alternative? You feel defeated. You feel a sense of hopelessness. I don't even know the other words to describe, but it's really not a good place to be. And I would never want anyone, not even my worst enemies, to feel that way. And then on top of that, you add the pressures of being a new parent.
Yes.
And being a new parent in a place where I call the American society a very individualistic society. as opposed to where I came from, where it's a very communal society. People help each other out very easily. I have a child and probably I haven't had help. There's your neighbor coming over, there's your friends coming, and then you find yourself in a place where even a neighbor saying hi is almost, it's like it's not even normal.
No, it's not.
For a
It's
neighbor
not
to say hello. So even if you want to seek help, you're asking yourself, where am I seeking this help from? You know? And so the things that would make you'd ease in some of your burdens, like help from the community, they are absent. Now, that compounds on top of your loss of identity and dignity. And then you bring with it the uncertainty of the military as well. Oh, we probably will be moving here to there. So you're like, okay, maybe I might want to start building community. I might want to, and then you realize, oh, we're about to leave. Then almost everything you have to drop everything, and we are running,
Oh, yes.
Exactly. And so another thing professionally, you want to apply for jobs. So I probably almost in other words, I will put this in quotes and say abandoned my law career and now focus on the international development. So I was applying to, organizations within the US that have, USAID. I was applying to UNICEF. I'm applying to Save the Children. These ones that do development but on an international scale also, and also other nonprofits with it. And every time you apply, everyone wants your credentials to be evaluated because they are not from the country. And this costs money, a lot of money. And this evaluation is sent directly to that employer, not to you. So it means every time you're doing a job application, you're spending so much money. Now, where is this money coming from? If you had savings, you're probably depleting it or it's depleted. If you didn't have, you're probably depending on that one income from your spouse. And now you're feeling like, oh, they're already doing so much to hold the whole house financially. And here I am taking it away. Guilt. Now you start feeling guilty for those things. Then you're like, is it even worth it? Because sometimes the evaluations take long. The job is gone. Sometimes after you go through 1 or 2 interviews and they start asking you about your experience, and they realize it's all foreign as well. Then they're like, oh, you don't have US experience. You don't even get the job anyway. Sometimes they ask for the evaluations and you don't even get to an interview. So you ask yourself, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it? Then one thing on top of another, and you're taking care of kids by yourself. And
it's a lot. It's overwhelming. That's what it sounds like. It sounds overwhelming.
Overwhelming. Maybe overwhelming is an understatement. You are in this whirlwind. It's constantly something new, something that you feel like so helpless. You don't know how to solve it. That's what I would say. And so, those feelings of anger, distress, disappointment. What I would say was mostly on top of those feelings was resentment. I resented my husband so much, not because of anything of his doing, but I was asking myself, I was telling myself, he is the reason I moved to the United States. He is the reason I have these kids. It's his military career that is having me in this situation where I'm so uncertain of even going back to school to do my law from scratch, because then we will still be moving from one place to another, and each state with their own licensing requirements. So it doesn't even make sense to go back to school and do the things I wanted to do. So that resentment was building in me so much. And I felt like the marriage was going to break, or I was just going to, be in a very dark place and not happy.
Yeah.
with what was going on. So I was very honest and told him, I don't know. I feel like this is not my place. I feel like I need to go to a place, that I need to feel like myself again.
Yeah.
Because I don't see any solution to this. At that point, we had never lived in a base, so never even got to see anybody else called a military spouse.
Yeah.
There's only one time that I met his workmates, and they, had not met me before, but they knew I was pregnant, so they organized a baby shower for me. That was the first time I got into a military installation.
Wow. Okay.
And like, I didn't even imagine that I belonged there. Like, there were people living there. That didn't even cross my mind, because we were living out,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can tell you it was a hard time.
Yeah.
A sense of identity is really, really, really important.
What was that shift for you? Because you talked about, you took the time, you said you had gotten to the end of your rope. You said that you would separate. You decided to go back home and leave the country. Your husband was able to go, right? So that was very positive. But what was that shift that you experienced when you were back home and that allowed you to come back?
Initially, I would tell you, to be honest, I had no plans of coming back, to be
Yeah.
honest. I would not sit here and lie that, I said I was going to take a break and then come back. No, I was just like, I'm done with this life. I don't see an end to all these things. I don't think I want to engage in all this constant movement and all the uncertainty and, yeah. So I wanted to just go back. So fortunately, he decided to come back with us, because at that point, I was not even giving him a choice. Like, let's talk about
no.
It was just, I'm leaving. The choice is with you. You're either staying or coming. Mine is made up,
Right.
So when we went back, I was able to get back into my career. And I'm so grateful that the master's degree that I took here for 2 years in project management, I was able to learn, an international project with that in Kenya a few months after I landed.
Nice.
And that was like, do you know how you wake somebody from a deep sleep?
Oh, yeah. It was that spark you needed
yes,
to.
yes. This is what I've been longing for. Someone to appreciate that I have value, someone to appreciate that I am worth something, someone to appreciate that, I have skills and I have experiences and I am, burning to contribute to the world. So for 2 years, I did that project, and then the next year I went on to a different role within another government institution doing international trade. And so the transition seems to me like, yes, this is what you needed. The validation of, yeah, see, that space was not good for you. See, this is where you belong. I felt alive. Yeah. I felt, I would call my former colleagues in law and be like, yeah, the way you call each other in Kenya, yes. We call each other learned friend. Hey, my learned friend. Lawyers say that very often in Kenya. I missed those little things of even someone picking up the call and, say, hey, learned friend, those kinds of things. And a coffee after work, because you don't really have to rush back home. There's someone taking care of the kids, doing some of those things. So you were really free to do everything you want to do, Yeah. It felt really invigorating. It felt like, yes, this is my place. This is where I belong. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful 3 years. Yeah.
So why come back? What was the determining factor to come back?
Now, I knew we were going to get there, but I wanted you to ask it. Now, my husband starts to experience the same thing I was experiencing.
Wow.
He is Kenyan too, but left Kenya like so many years early. I think, my gosh, like maybe 15 years before then. So all his adult life, because he came here when he was in college. So he did his college here, his first job, his work, all were here. So Kenya was a, even though that was his country, it was a new environment professionally for him. Okay. And he's a medic, he's a physician assistant. That does not translate well in Kenya. And the landscape, the healthcare landscape also is very different. You would be earning very little. And, you know, where we were, I don't know, he was looking for, you know, a certain level of work that he was used to, because
he's looking for that fulfillment.
Exactly. And he wasn't getting it. So the frustration was setting in on his side as well. See, now I'm the one working. I'm the one not doing everything. I'm the one enjoying myself. I have colleagues. I have people to talk to. Like he used to have and I didn't have. See? So now he's like, honey, we need to talk. You know, I supported you. I was there for you. I saw your struggle and I was like, I don't want to break up the family. So, you know, I decided to come and support you in feeling like yourself again. I'm so happy because you are a completely different person, you know? You don't outburst, just you were not on edge like you were. You are more calm, you are happier, you are glowing. You seem to be thriving, and I love that. Now, for me, I feel like you were feeling. I feel like I'm not fulfilled. I don't have a sense of identity. I want to be a man in my house. I want to provide for my family. Even the money that we had set aside as savings and all that is running out right now. And I feel like I would not be in a place to support my family like I want to. Secondly, you know, America provides for us, especially the children, you know, a better environment in terms of not just amenities, but what the society offers, education and quality of life and many other things that we want to afford for them. And maybe this time, now that you know in your mind what to expect, we might have a different approach to everything. So I'm suggesting that, you know, I go back to service and, you know, we all go back to America. So, you know, the hard questions come. So we're still going to be moving, and for how long, for how many years, and, you know, what's going to happen with my work and all that. And he's like, I have to go, because at that time when he was thinking of it, he was due for his drilling. Is that what they call it? Drilling. So he had to go, he had to come to the US anyway. He had done that every year since we were there. So that time was up for him to come again. So he's like, I'm thinking this time when I go, I shouldn't come back. I should find a place for us to live and maybe take 2-3 months, you know, get me some savings, furnish the house, and then I think you guys should come. So I'd suggest that, you know, talk to your employers, you know, give them a notice, and then take like 2 months and just say goodbyes, just have a good time, you know, travel wherever you want to travel, do whatever you want to do as you prepare to join me in 3 months. So we know, we run some numbers, run some options here and there, and we say, okay, you supported me. I think it's my turn to support you again, now with a better understanding in my mind of the expectations. So yeah, that's what we did. 2018, we were back.
And you've been back all throughout that time frame. So how has this time been different than the first time?
I would say there's certain things that are different, certain things just remain the same. The difference is that I was prepared for them. That's the big difference. My mind knew that things were going to be challenging, that it was not going to be a smooth ride, that there's something I needed to approach differently. And, yeah. So one of the conditions I was coming back to with was that please try to get a place that's not cold, because it was also, apart from the culture shock, the weather was, I'm a warm person. I'm like, so the winters kill me. And we were in places we were so cold, and oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, can we find a warmer place? And so it was lucky to go to California, and that's where we came from Kenya. We went to California. Why weren't doing this for us even
the whole time?
This is beautiful, yes. I loved it. So that was also a huge difference. Even just feeling the weather like it's at home all year round made a huge difference, because it feels like, yes. I can be happy all year round. I can, yeah. The thing that was the same was the professional side.
Yeah.
Was every job wants an evaluation. Oh, you don't have local experience. Oh, your references are all overseas, and how can we talk to someone who, is waking up at this time? How do we even connect those? So it was the same, but at least I was prepared for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And the difference also is now I went online. When my husband retired in 2020, and I was having this tough conversation with him again. Say, see, we came back. We have tried. I have tried. Nothing is working again. Now that you have retired, why don't we just go back again? Because it seems like, you've retired, so we're fine. The kids, we can bring them every other year. They can, have access to whatever they need. They're citizens for all intents and purposes. So, yeah. Then he says, I think maybe there's something that you haven't explored. Maybe there's I don't know. I hear they have some things for military spouses. I don't know. Why don't you just Google and figure out? Then I go on Google, and I think I just typed something like, what support do military spouses get? Something in those lines. Then now things start to flood. Then I'm like, oh, okay. Then I start to read. And I see one organization that does this, another one does this, another one. Then the first one I connect with is Veterati, and they have mentors, because that was what I was missing. The networks, and I did not know where to start from. So I thought Veterati was a place where I could get, a mentor, just use my military spouse story. Well, interesting that now I use military spouse, because I never knew my identity as a military spouse until my husband retired.
But that's okay. You found it. You found your people. And I'm so glad that you are able to find the community. But first of all, I love your story. There's so many things in there. One, just showing how you and your spouse worked through some really tough conversations. You compromised, which looked like moving from country to country for one another. And I love that is such a beautiful example of the sacrifice that we make in our relationship. And also, unfortunately, it's a reminder of what I like to call this military spouse bubble. It's like when you're in the bubble, you know about all the resources, you know about the podcast, you know about the mentor programs, you know about the people who are advocating for spouse employment, you know about all these things. But when you're outside that bubble, you don't know. And it's lonely, and there's a lack of support, and people aren't communicating about these things. And I think it's really hard to hear how many people are outside of that bubble who really need the support. So I did want to ask you, what was your favorite, or maybe something that you're presently tapped into? What is your favorite resource that you would encourage any military spouse, but specifically if there is a spouse who is foreign born, who is like, I have no clue where to start. What is a resource or two that you would recommend for them?
Yeah, what has been of help to me, I tell you, after learning about all these things, is just connect to one organization. Just one will open some things up.
Yeah.
That for me was is it called MySeco? I found it online. I went on MySeco and then
Yes.
just went through the website. There were so many organizations listed there with the services they provide. And from interviewing to doing career, some acclimation, what do you call those? Resume writing. There was a lot
Yes.
going on that I did not know about, that probably if I knew, I would have taken advantage of and sought their services. As a foreign-born spouse as well, if you intend to go to work, there is an organization called Upwardly Global that specializes in helping immigrants with their career needs. So Upwardly Global, when I went there, and I knew about Upwardly Global as part of what I do with Blue Star Families right now. I just went searching. I was looking for, resources for immigrants within the United States, and I stumbled upon Upwardly Global in one of my Google searches.
Love it.
And yeah, I share that resource all the time. It's constantly an open window on my on my desk because I've not had enough of it. I still can't believe I did not know that, even not as part of the military spouse community, but just as an immigrant myself. So I really, really, would encourage you, if you want to pursue a career, go there, because it will guide you, the different professions and what are the requirements, and if you need to recertify and whatever you need, they will at least guide you career wise. Apart from that, I would like, if you don't know where to start, please connect to someone.
Yeah.
Connect to somebody. I realize the military spouse community is a very supportive space. I wish I knew that I belonged there. I would have been, stuck with them. Connect to somebody. Please, please, please ask your husband or your wife to take you to a place where you can connect with military spouses. These people have so many resources. They know so much that can help. They know a lot that can help you. As a foreign-born spouse as well, you want to join the Facebook group Foreign Spouse Association. I believe that's the name, on Facebook. And, that's a community of foreign-born military spouses. So people talk about immigration, work permits, and other things that, are applicable to that, that community.
That's awesome.
I recently fielded a survey because we don't have anybody talking about foreign-born spouses. So my survey, as part of my capstone for this fellowship, was the challenges of foreign-born spouses, how those affect recruitment and retention, and what recommendations to help and support. And I remember we had a response from a foreign-born service member, and he had to say, with this demographic growing, it will be tremendously beneficial if an Into America class or course was taught when I first entered the military.
Yes.
And taught by someone culturally competent. It will be beneficial for my foreign-born spouse also, so she can feel welcome, and so that is part of the recommendations I make, because
I love it.
If there was that kind of thing, I probably would have known, military jargon, whatever, there's a military spouse community, there's a this, there's a that, and I would not have felt as lonely as I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I am working on presenting this at my graduation, which will be in DC, and hoping that with the people in the audience or with the policymakers that might be able to hear this word, that at some point with my advocacy, I am a fierce advocate for foreign-born military spouses. I'm telling you, I have made it my mission. And I'm going to support foreign-born military spouses in welcoming them in and, you know, just helping them acclimate to the society, set some expectations in their minds, and, you know, support with their setting a career, finances, you know, family, and the things that you probably don't know, but need to know.
Yes.
I am on a mission. And I hope that my time doing this will be forever. I will never stop. If you hear any foreign-born spouse that needs someone to connect to, they might not know who to connect to yet, Lydia is here.
That's who I'm sending everybody to you.
My arms are open wide. Actually, my Sundays are filled with talking to foreign-born spouses who are referred to me from some events by Hiring a Heroes, some from Hire Heroes USA, some from Vets to Industry and War, because of how I've been sharing my story of, you know, it's not a good story, but I'm sharing it because someone said, at the end of your story is someone's deliverance. I'd like to deliver somebody. I'd love to remove that sense of desperation from somebody. Give them some hope. Tell them, you know, this is available now. How do we do this?
Yes.
So I'm hoping, you know, someone in the military will take this up, and somehow there'll be some kind of training. There'll be some kind of, you know, classes offered, even language, you know, just language classes. Some people cannot even communicate. Now imagine you're in a new country, you cannot even communicate, you know, and cultural awareness and sensitivity. This is what America is like. This, all those things. So that's what I'm doing currently, and I'm fired up.
And I love that. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. It comes from your story, your experience. It's a great story. I know you said it's not a good story. No, it's not good. It's great. And it's very encouraging. It gives hope. It gives light to the issues and the problems and where we've fallen short and done a disservice. Our foreign-born military spouses and service member who have to figure out that acclimation on their own or with a Google search, as opposed to a outstretched hand that is guiding them along the way. So the work that you are doing is so necessary and so needed. And I am grateful for what you're doing. I'm excited for your graduation. So keep me posted on that and how it is received, because I really do agree it is necessary. The links to the resources that you provided will be in the show notes, as well with your information, so that if any spouse wants to connect with you, they'll be able to connect with you as well. Lydia, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. But before I let you go, I got to ask you one of my favorite questions, which is really our theme songs, if you will. They're heart tracks. And we have our whole playlist where we highlight our heart tracks, where our guests are in the hot seat. They choose the theme song, if you will, for the episode, and Lydia's in the hot seat. So share with us, what is the heart track for this episode?
Oh, thank you so much, Bree. Thank you for having me as well. This is a good platform to share and spread the word. My song, Firework, baby.
Let's go.
Firework by Katy Perry. Yes.
I love that song. And I love it because the work that you're doing, you really are a firework, and you encourage other spouses to shine and stand up for other people. And you're really making a difference with what you're doing. And we're grateful to have you here with us as a part of this community. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Bree. Thank you for all the work you do as well. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are
Mill Marriage Strong.